what's up? It's Brianna. So we need to talk about the Wilderness palette from Beauty Bay because let me tell you, it has been a hot minute since I have been so excited about a collection that I signed up for like an email list as well as put like an alarm in my phone. Like, don't get me wrong, like I'll buy a new collection, but I'm not going to get out of bed early for it, if you know what I mean. But this one, I just had to have it. Like, there's just something so fun and special about this one, and also just a very unique palette in general. I mean, just look at how cool that is. Like, we have these brighter blues, smokier kind of colors, the greens, and even like the reds in here. Like, this is totally my vibe. So I just pried my eyes off camera, but today I kind of want to do like a color melt. I just want to use as many of the colors in this palette as I can. So, you know, this might look a little bit weird and funky at first, but I think it's going to tie in all together. Like, it's definitely going to be like a trust the process kind of look. But the first shade I want to go in with is this really kind of interesting orangey color, and this one is called Sunrise. Again, it's not like a brighter orange, it's kind of more of like a pumpkin orange. And I'm just going to be taking it on this brush from Morphe. This is from one of their like holiday collections. It's just a small little blending brush. And I'm just going to be popping it in the inner third of my crease. But, ooh, that is like really pigmented. I'll be honest, sometimes with these 20 pan palettes from Beauty Bay, they're either really good or they really suck. Like, there is not an in-between. Like the Book of Magic palette, absolutely love that one. It is one of my all-time favorites from them. But the Sunset Horizons palette is just, like, I do not like that one at all. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one works. But I am going to go in with a second layer. Honestly, I don't think I needed to build it up, but I'm just kind of curious. Yeah, like the first layer, don't get me wrong, like it is really nice, but if you want it to look like it does in the pan, I'd probably do 2 layers. So now I'm just going to go in with the bright red out of the palette, and this one's called Poppy. And one thing I really like about this palette though is that a lot of the time when you see like these earthy kind of palettes, it has a lot of brown to it and a lot of neutrals, whereas this one really doesn't have that. I mean, we have one brown here. I guess you could kind of consider this like a yellowy shade of brown, but really it is more on the yellow side. And then we also have like a creamy white, but otherwise there's absolutely no browns in here. And I feel like a lot of times with like earthy palettes, they just have so much brown that you just don't really have that much color. Whereas this one I just feel like it's a little bit different because it does have more brightness to it. Now I'm just going to be taking this on a Morphe M433. It's just a pinch blending brush, and I'm just going to pop it right in the center third. And oh, that's a really good red. Dang, like, I don't even know what to say at the moment. Like, I haven't seen a good red like that in a long time. Because so many reds apply pink or like a raspberry. But this one's like a true primary red. Ooh, I really like that. Like, dang. And also, it's like really pigmented. If you've ever used Sugarpill's Love Plus, this shade right here really reminds me of it. But oh my gosh. I mean, just look at how amazing that shade is. Like, I can't get over how pigmented these shades have been so far too. I am going to go in with a second layer just to really kind of like amp it up. Yeah, you don't even have to do 2 layers if you don't want to. Like, don't get me wrong, like, it does kind of like deepen it a little bit, but I mean, you wouldn't have to. I'm going to warn you, this is going to look really weird, but just trust me on this one. But the next shade I'm going to be going in with is this beautiful royal blue, and this one's called Twilight. And I'm just going to be taking it on this small little blending brush from Morphe. This is an M456. I mean, I barely dip my brush into the pan, and I mean, just look at how intense that is. But I'm going to be popping it in my crease in the outer third. And I was not expecting that. Oh my gosh, I was not expecting that at all. Like, I thought it was going to be a little bit more on the buildable side. I should have known better. But yes, now let's blend it up and out. Dang, like, I don't even know what to say because I was just not expecting it to be like that right away. And I'm just popping it into the red a little bit more. I just kind of want to do like a color melt situation, but holy shit. It's just not. Oh, I thought this was going to be like a little bit more on the buildable side because a lot of times like darker shades are a little bit more buildable. So what I'm going to do to kind of fix the blending between the blue and the red is I'm actually going to be going in with this raw shade, which is kind of like the deepest red in the palette. And I'm just going to be taking it on a Morphe M433, a different brush than I used previously. This is like the perfect oxblood, but I'm just going to pop it between the blue and the red. Okay, that made like the world of difference. I was just gonna do a tri-colored look today, but I guess we're doing kind of like a rainbow, like a smoky rainbow. But again, like all the mattes we have used so far have been just so pigmented and easy to work with. Because sometimes with really pigmented shades it can be kind of tricky, but these ones have been really, really nice. And I'm just going to go back in with that brush we applied the bright red with, Poppy. No additional product, and I'm just kind of like finessing everything. With these kind of looks, you just want to go back and forth between the colors with no additional product. You can also go in with additional product if you feel like you need it or if you're losing a color. But this will help give you like the most seamless blend. I guess we're going to do kind of like a smoky rainbow kind of look. So I kind of want to do like greens and like yellows on the lid. So I'm first just going to go in with the Davis Green shimmer shade, and that is called Moss. I personally really love Beauty Bay shimmers, but I'm just going to be taking this dry on my brush. But, ooh, that is so good. I mean, just look at that reflect. And I'm also going to feather it into Twilight that we just applied. And I'd say if you cut your eye in half, I am doing it on the outer half. And then I'm just going to go back in with that brush we just applied Twilight with and kind of like tap out the edge of the shimmer. So for the rest of the lid, I'm just going to go in with this yellowy green, almost like electric kind of color, and this one's called Lime. And again, since this formula is so creamy, I'm just going to go in with it dry on a different flat shader brush, and I love that. Oh my gosh, that is such a cool color. Again, it's kind of like a lime green, but it has like this yellowy electric kind of feel to it. I seriously love Beauty Bay shimmers though. They just have so much dimension to them. If you've ever used Juvia's Place shimmers, they have that kind of reflect, but the consistency of a Super Shock shadow from ColourPop. But, ooh, dang, that is cool. So I want to do a white liner accent, so I'm just going to go in with this ColourPop BFF liquid liner in this shade Graceland. I love this one so much. It is so good. It is a felt tip though, it is not a brush tip. But what I'm going to do is just follow right above the cut crease that we created. Literally going right on that line. I just love this liner so much. It is so pigmented. So I just did my base makeup off camera, but let's do the lower lash line. And I'm just going to match what we did on the top. So I'm first going to go in with the tiniest amount of Twilight and put it in the outer fourth. And I'm just using this little shader brush from Morphe's Madison Beer Collection. And when I say a little, I mean I barely tap my brush into the pan because this shade is really pigmented. Next, I'm just going to go in with a little bit of Raw. And again, when I'm applying it, I'm doing like little back and forth motions. And then using that same brush, I'm just going to go in with Poppy. And now I'm just going to take the tiniest amount of Sunrise and apply it in the inner part. So for the inner corner highlight, I'm just going to go in with the lightest shade in the palette, and this one's called Ray, and it's kind of like a gold with like a greenish kind of tinge to it. It's not like 100% gold. But I think it's going to look really cool next to lime, but I'm just going to be taking it on this pencil brush from Anastasia. It's an A14. Again, I'm going to be applying it dry, but ooh, that's really pretty. It applies more green than gold though. I'm just going to do a second layer. You see what I mean? Like it's kind of like an iridescent, like greenish kind of shade with almost like a champagne base. This look definitely turned out to be kind of like a rainbow smoky fantasy, which I absolutely love, but honestly, like I'm surprised that more people are not talking about this palette. Like it is so nice and great quality. Again, I used 7 shades out of 20 today, so almost a little over a third, and I just cannot get over how nice this palette is. Again, like the mattes in here are just extremely pigmented to the point you don't even have to build them up if you don't want to. And also they just have like this nice richness to them that is absolutely stunning. I will say though, if you are a true beginner, you might struggle with the shades in here, especially this Twilight shade, because again, the mattes in here are just so pigmented. And I find if you are a beginner, you know, a little bit more of a buildable formula is generally a little bit easier to work with. But again, if you like pigmented shades, you are gonna fall in love with the mattes in here. Like, I could see this palette being like a new everyday staple for me. Like, I just cannot get over how nice quality it is. And also, like, the shimmers in here just have so much dimension and sparkle to them. And if you've never tried out Beauty Bay shimmers before, they are almost like a Super Shock shadow from ColourPop. Like, they kind of have like this creaminess to them. And also, they just have a ton of dimension. Like, they are just an amazing formula. But But again, for $15, like, this palette is such a steal. Like, I just cannot get over that this is not more hype than it is. But I will say this is a very niche pick palette. Like, this is a palette I don't see everybody's gonna like, or it's gonna be everybody's taste. Because again, it is fairly bright and smoky and also has a little bit of earthiness. And for an earthier palette, again, it doesn't have a lot of neutrals. Like, we only have one brown in here and then kind of like a creamy bone shade. Otherwise, again, the rest of the shades are either really bright or they kind of have like a smokiness to them. But if you're like me and you're absolutely obsessed with these kind of colors, it is so worth getting. Like, I can't recommend this one enough. But yeah, so in the comments down below, let me know what you think about this look, and also let me know what you think about this palette. But as always though, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and also give this video a like. And if you'd like to check me out over on Instagram or TikTok, it's at Brianna Faye as well. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!